Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Ball squad, shoot for the skill shot, it's a house ball. Ball squad, shoot the green like a mock jackpot. Mike is the simulator, Mel is the zen. Show with the milky voice, Stemage the Uber fan. Ball squad, with a ball squad.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. As you can tell by the intro music, we got a special show going on. When you hear the Ball Squad theme, you know Grant Henry's here. Grant, how are you doing?
I'm great. Always a good day for steel balls.
It is. A lot of ball talk today. And joining us for the ball talk is Bri. Bri, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just, going through the motions of all that moving stuff.
Yeah. At least you don't have a pinball table to move.
Thank goodness.
I
have it all.
No, you wish you had a pinball table to move, right? You're like, you're to the point where you...
I am thankful that I have the digital pinball so that I don't have to move the big stuff. See, there we go.
I'm just visualizing you broadcasting from the back of like a moving truck,
Oh,
you got
yeah.
your little table.
Oh, yeah.
Nice microphone.
In the U-Haul.
Yep. In the
U-Haul,
U-Haul. Yep.
Yeah, when it's Ball Squad, Master of Ceremonies has to be here. Mel, Kirk of Zen Studios, welcome back for your 7th appearance.
What?
7? What?
7?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Lucky number 7.
Well, we better make it really, really special then.
I think I have an idea based on this being your lucky number 7, is that the next licensed pinball table from Zen is going to be the movie Lucky Number 11.
There you go.
Oh, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
He's been working hard on that one. That's pretty good. I still don't believe it though. 7? Has it really been 7? That's
First
crazy.
Appearance was episode 299 in July of 2017.
Wow.
And you're on 304 for the official episode of Ball Squad, which I have a few questions about later on, but 322, 419, 470. Then there was a gap to 862 because COVID was an asshole. And then 1067, which is tonight.
We did have one of the other
we've had a bunch of Zen folk on the show. Mel, you are the most seasoned of the appearances on our show. How have you been? How is things going at Zen?
Things are good. Let me just first say congratulations to all of us for still being here.
Yeah, really.
Good job. Things are good at Zen. It's been a wild couple of years. If you follow gaming news, you've probably seen our studio pop up for things outside of just making pinball games, whether it's what happened with the studio being acquired by Embracer Group and then under Saber Interactive and then orphaned again within Embracer Group. And now we seem to be landing somewhere soon, which I'll be happy to announce when we can talk about it. But from that standpoint, it's nice to just kind of know where you're aligned. Uncertainty sometimes can be challenging, especially with the way the gaming industry has gone the last couple years.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's all good here in Zenland. Luckily, we've got a group of very, very faithful, passionate pinball players, and they definitely keep us ticking. And we're really lucky to be a part of such a fantastic game and community. So that's what we owe it all to.
I have a question. So that I just feel like because very aware of the bouncing around, the embraced, the unembraced, like all that stuff. But it's one of those. No one's really doing what you're doing. No one's doing this pinball stuff with the consistency and the quality and the brand and the licenses and stuff. But like it was sort of I was always a little worried about you guys just because of the size that you are and you never really know. And then you keep dropping stuff. You keep putting stuff out. I would say like maybe even more of a steady tick the last 2 years than ever before. So you're somehow you've made it work. You're making it work. Like you're still cranking out the hits, as they say. So great job. keeping things moving over there.
Yeah, thank you. For a while, I feel like we got a bit off course. We were tasked with doing things that I didn't necessarily agree with, but had to comply, and found a way to kind of only take it halfway. And of course, that kind of pisses off corporate overlords, but you know it's best for your studio because you've been a part of it for so long and you understand. I like to think that we mostly try to make players happy. And sometimes we get a little out there in left field trying to do new things and don't explain it very well. But luckily, we didn't do any catastrophic errors, which I'm really proud of as the leader of the studio. So, yeah, it did get us in a bit of trouble, but we've worked ourselves out of it, and we are cranking out good hits. I feel like our content is good. Pinball FX platform has come a long way. We released the new Pinball FX VR, which if you've played it, like I love it, and anybody who does thinks very highly of it.
Grant, you had a blast with that, didn't you?
We've got all of it going on, so it's good.
Yeah, it is good. What were you saying, Joe? You saying
I said you had a blast with that, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had my little the idea of like setting up a little arcade. I have lots of small rooms in my house, right? So I just sort of filled one of them up with machines, and it was. One was sticking out of the bathroom, you do what you can. But it was, it's incredible. And I find it fascinating that you're able to keep the VR platform updated along with everything else too. I mean, you got the new Williams pack coming and it's like right alongside the VR version. So, it's great. It's way cheaper to invest in than Zen Pinball VR than it is to buy a machine. And you can have your arcade in your living room. It's pretty great.
Or in your bathroom.
Yeah.
Or in your bathroom. Yes, anywhere.
Actually, one of the coolest things that's going on is people are sending us screenshots. Like they're taking their headset out and they're taking pictures of machines in like cool locations in the virtual setup and then sharing them around. So we've got someone did it like out in the snow. There was something in a museum. I think we should turn it into a fun challenge.
Oh, that is
apparently
great.
Meta really doesn't want you to take your Quest outside in the sun. So
yes, I remember that. There's something about the it's just about the possibility of the lenses catching the rays right and burning up the screens, I think. But hey, at dusk, let's get crazy. That's what I say.
Pinball in the dark.
I love that. That's hilarious. I'm trying to think of like some interesting locations. You could theme it, right? You take taxi to the depot. I don't know.
Is it pinball in the dark or pinball
SML after dark?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
It is.
That's what pinball M is for, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens in October.
Oh yeah, we got pinball. There's October's on the way. I wonder if there's anything there to say.
That's why they don't let me do these kind of things.
Is that just a brief hint we might see something new for Pinball M soon?
Well, let's see what happens in October.
See what happens in October.
All right.
Sounds fair.
Did
Let's talk about what's happening.
Like new title wise?
What was the question, Bri?
Oh, do you have anything you can talk about new title wise?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Volume 9, which I'm really happy about. There's some games in there that, it's coming on Thursday. We've already announced it, and it's out in the open. Beyond that, I can just say we have a nice amount of new tables, some that have been highly demanded in production. And the pinball schedule is out there as far as I can see it, so there's going to be no shortage of new games. But as far as like what I can say specifically that's revealed, it's Pinbot, Whodunit, and Taxi, which are, back to the glory days and feeding all of our nostalgic itches, and I think is going to be really fun.
Awesome. I think it works out really well because Grant is on record as saying Pinbot is his favorite pinball table.
It is.
I spent the summer living with my dad in Tennessee. We're at a bar nearby. They had a pool table and Taxi pinball machine. And I spent all summer playing Taxi. And then Bri, she's been playing the new pack, and she likes Whodunit the most. So we got like the whole spread here.
Yeah.
Yep, it's truth. Yeah, I'm posting it in the. I posted it in the Showtime chat and also in the general SML thread. But I actually have a perler bead art piece of Pinbot, like a good 4 foot wide one that's up in my office next to my
that is
avatar
awesome.
prototype sitting here. Yeah, I think I was, but because there was an NES port of the original Pinbot. It was Pinbot on NES, and David Wise retrofitted the music for the game, and that was the first time I realized that pinball had rules to follow. I think before that I just thought you were supposed to hit flashing lights. So sort of fell in love with Pinbot and then High Speed at my local arcade, and that was kind of the beginning of my pinball love story. But yeah, Pinbot, I've been waiting on it, and it's great, plays great. I don't know how much we can talk about that stuff on this call, but yeah, Pinbot is.
I think we can talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's coming out in less than 48 hours. So,
well, there you go. Pinbot's real good. Pinbot's real good. Love the music. Love the aesthetic. Hard as nails. Yep. I appreciate every bit of it. But also I love the fact that Pinbot makes an appearance in Taxi, and Taxi makes an appearance in Whodunit. And so I don't know if this is on purpose, Mel, but good synergy there.
The threads of connection in the pack for sure. That's because I think I've really been getting into the history of the games. Like when I see these new tables come out, that's the first thing I do is I go to the museum sites and the Wikipedia, and I just look at the history because I find that all fascinating. So that was really cool to see the different threads of connection between them, and the different creators of the original tables seem to have a connection with this pack. So that's really cool.
Yeah, Bri, you're on the money. We did have all this in mind when we were putting this together. It's not always that you can pinball packs of 3 different games can feel disjointed, or they're each their individual thing. But we saw a unique opportunity here because we've done a lot of games already, but we wanted to put a package together that had a little bit of connection in there. So glad that you were able to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good collection of the solid state tables too, like the alphanumeric tables. I know that this is kind of that midway era. I know Ed Boon I think he was one of the main programmers on Taxi, which is fun to see that kind of lineage as well. Like it's just kind of and the music of Taxi. It's a very special time. I think everyone's got the era they're most fond of, but this is certainly a special pack for me. So real excited that this is getting out there.
That's excellent. All right, so it was Grant. You were the Pinbot fan. Joe, you're the Taxi fan, and Bri is the Whodunit fan.
You got it.
I got that right. Okay, cool.
Correct.
Wow. For me personally, I think Whodunit is my favorite of these 3. Although I like them all, but Whodunit is. I like the theme of the detective. I like that every game it plays out differently. It's almost an early version of something that you never experienced the same way twice. Like back in 1995, they figured this out. So it's a pretty novel concept for the time it was developed.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also the kind of game that if you don't necessarily know the rules and you also just want to shoot flashing stuff, you can. It's not
a high scoring table, so it feels easy to jump into and learn as you go, and feel like you've made some progress and stuff. So that's fun. Also, you can't go wrong with Peter Gunn. I mean, that's just a great theme for that. So that's fun.
What was the process in getting that song for the game? Any licensing issues there?
Yeah, I think I may have said it to you guys before 7 years ago or whatever it was, but nothing has really changed in terms of the ease of licensing music. It's a difficult process every time, especially for older tracks. Sometimes you can go in and kind of license something through a publishing house, or they've got it automated. But in this case, this track took a lot of manual work and lots of outreach and just going through different contacts and finding the source so we could make it work in the game. But music and pinball are a challenge, especially when there's kind of different versions of it, or if it's been kind of digitized, or it's different from the original song. But in this case, it was not straightforward. It was difficult. So, but I'm glad we got it done.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How would you compare it to?
Grant probably knows about Grant. I should talk to you about music licensing. You probably know quite a bit.
I mean, I'm not making games, so I know a bit about it in terms of like rules around covers, arrangements, and things like that, and things you should do ahead of time. But it is a different world with the game stuff. But yeah,
probably you're on the original side.
Fascinating, yes, fascinating world for sure. Yeah.
Which, by the way, if we're going to talk about music, I have not had the chance to, in any context other than text message, tell Grant huge congratulations for the Avatar.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. That was a lot of fun and a dream come true. Like I'm hoping there'll be another one and in my future here. But it was really great to work on and it was like the thing where there was a list of people I really, really wanted to tell Mel when I'm working on this thing. It's just like taking all of my everything to not just text buddies, which I did good. I did good. I followed the Disney rules, but it was fun to be able to share that once it actually happened. So, it
was so cool. I see friends and people in the industry and move up and like have that now that in your portfolio is just incredible and amazing. So congrats.
Yeah, it's also cool that it's a company that makes their machines with headphone jacks, so people can plug in and actually experience some music instead of it just getting lost in the din of the arcade. You know how that goes. So I gotta ask, do you still
have an audio? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Bri.
Oh, I had an audio question. Like, what does it take to get the audio off of these original machines and translate them into the digital sphere? Like, because they have their sound cards with pre-programmed things, right? Like, how do you get that digitized effectively into the new machine? Like, what's that process like?
Well, that's a good question. Not for me. I can tell you sort of. I know. I don't know too much about that aspect specifically. But if you're interested in that, I could get you in touch with our sound producers, and they would be able to tell you the whole thing. But I think sometimes it's really straightforward. Other times it's not. I don't know, but I do know like the case of say Indiana Jones, where we're working with the theme song and it's been synthesized and it's this different version. The question that I deal with would be, is this the authentic John Williams version? And I would say no, it's not, but Disney would say yes, it is, and so we have to figure that out. As far as how they get it off the hardware, I don't know. Grant might even actually know more than I do on that.
I know that there was a discussion about that. 10 episodes ago, I don't know how many we've been on at this point, but there's apparently a system that your guys build that interface with, it's like you're recreating the board set in a way of these machines and then just using the ROMs. Like all these games have ROMs. They all have it's like an old video game playing a ROM in an emulator. And so as long as you have all the hooks in your video game platform to listen to that ROM and translate it into actual things, then it's just a matter of building a bunch of switches and plugging those switches up to the right part of the board. It's like you're essentially recreating. My understanding is it's not, you haven't recreated all the rules from scratch. You're literally just plugging into the ROM in a way, and then in this faux physical environment, you're triggering the rules of the game. And I assume the sound is just a part of that. I don't know how that works because you don't have the actual chips.
You know what? You're ringing a bell in my head now. Yes, I'm remembering, because I used to be way more into the production side. My role has changed especially over the last 5 years. But what Grant is talking about rings true. I remember because when we were starting to work on this, and we basically we're ripping everything out of the ROM and plugging it into this user face that we developed basically from scratch, and then it allowed the transfer of data into a new digitized type of file that we then produced the music. So not reproduced the music, I should say, but.
It feels really authentic. It doesn't sound like one of those things where you recorded the sound from the machine and now you're playing it back in your game engine. It really, all the artifacts and all the the way things get cut off and the changing volume levels, like they sound exactly like the original machines. Whatever it is you're doing, it's certainly it's accurate. It's all there.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
I think I noticed like having played now a couple of digital tables that I've played the real tables for, like that's something that just kind of got that curiosity in my head about the process for that, because I've seen people who have the inside of these machines and these cards and stuff, and I was just like, I wonder how close these are between the two. Because like I think it was Earthshaker was one that I had played in person, and it just sounded like everything I remembered. So
right,
yeah, I'm just curious. So
it's cool, super cool. I remember, I don't know if it was you, Mel, or if it was someone else, but there was talk about how the old electromechanical machines, like the old bells and chimes machines, are way more difficult to actually develop because there are no brains. Mm-hmm. There's no board set. It's literally just switches and logic. So you actually do have to go and program those manually in code. So it ends up being more difficult to program a more simple game, which I think is fascinating. I don't know. Does that sound familiar, Mel? Or am I making that up?
No, you're right. I know the EM games are far more difficult, which is why we had a couple years ago. It must have been Space. Should dare I say Space Shuttle or Shuttle? Which one it was? Where
Station? Was it Space Station?
Space Station. We delayed the pack like 6 months because it couldn't figure out how to get the EM stuff to work and to translate correctly. And so we learned a lot since then, obviously, but it is much more difficult.
Wild.
Yeah. It's been a lot of years. There's a lot of games.
It's a whole lot of games.
How many tables are in the game now? Like 130 something?
Yeah. I think we've done over the course of time, we're close to 150 games developed since 2007 in the first Pinball FX. So right now in Pinball FX, there's like 130 something in there, about to be 3 more.
Are there any of the older like FX, FX2, FX3 tables that you really wish we could bring back? Any personal favorites that you had?
Absolutely, and I want to say one right now because I'm working on bringing it back. It looks like it's going to happen.
All right, that's great.
There's a clue sitting right in front of you. I shouldn't say anything else. There we go. If you're looking at your screen, there's a clue. But
Yeah, moving on.
I think I know what you mean.
So if you look back in the history of Zen's tables, the games that haven't come forward from the early era, there's a game in there that was early on, and I hope we can bring that back. I think it'd be really, really great, as well as maybe do some new stuff with that company. So
that'd be pretty awesome if it happens. I'm curious about, and through the ownership changes, I'm wondering if there's any possibility of the Bethesda pack being potentially brought back in cooperation with Microsoft. It seems like they're pushing Bethesda hard, and I thought that was a great pack.
Stay tuned for more announcements.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
I don't like to leave, we don't like to leave any pinball game behind. The thing about pinball is if you make a good game, you'll want to pick it up and play it 20 years later. It'll feel fresh and new. I think pinball ages differently than a lot of things. If it's done well, it's still a great game all the time. And not every game we've made has been great, but they all take a little piece of, I don't know, like just, it's fun working. Like I love Plants vs. Zombies. It was fun working with the team to make that game, and then like it's there, everybody loves it, and then for whatever reason, EA acquires the studio, and then we have to pull it down, and then you hate to see it left behind, and it's like if you could bring it back, it represents a piece of history, a piece of time, something that you were a part of, and it's just like, that's the pain of digital distribution. Sometimes is like these things don't exist in a physical sense, but you don't want it to be forgotten because it represents someone's brilliant idea and hard work, and so whenever, if ever it's possible to bring a game back, we're going to do it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you really have that like feel for game preservation as a concept, like, and that's something you're doing with these tables. That's something we talk about a lot on the show here with other video games. Like, you know, you want to preserve those things, and because a lot of them do stand up. I think pinball is definitely a great example of things that stand the test of time, and it's cool to see these all digitally recreated.
Yeah, and you know, part of the aspect of doing the Williams Valley collection as well. I mean, we make the games available for people who used to play them, and I think they feel really good about it. And a new generation of player who might not have grown up in the arcade, but they stumble on into the hobby, and then they get to experience these, you know, from whatever gaming device they're on. It is a part of the mission of why we're doing this, and so I think that's part of the reason, probably why we continue doing it for so long. Not everybody at the studio wants to work on pinball all the time, so we try to have another project that they can cycle off to, and then they come back and they're all excited to come back to the pinball team. So it's nice that we just always have this going, because our studio definitely is passionate about it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Sorry, Joe, I don't want to step on you there.
I was going to say, speaking on the preservation side, something I absolutely love about Zen Pinball is I'm looking at my Xbox ready to install list right now. And on there is Pinball FX, obviously, with 130 plus tables. And then Pinball FX3 is still there with all of their tables. Pinball FX2 is there with all of their tables. And the 360 version of Pinball FX is there with all their tables. So you have really pushed preservation to the point that you can play all your tables currently.
It's really cool. I'm glad that we've been able to make that happen. You know, there's been some bumps along the way. We learned a lot of lessons about making sure that we keep games available. So I'm glad it's all there for you, and that's a lot of history. I just, you know, sitting here thinking back 2007. I mean, it's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Actually, Zen is celebrating its 25th anniversary in October. We're going to do something special.
Cool.
For that. So that'll be fun. But thinking back to all those games, that's just been such a great road and experience. Microsoft, you know, gave us our first chance in 2007. That's why Pinball FX was launched. They wanted content that supported the Xbox. It was the Xbox Vision Cam. I don't know if you guys remember that device.
Oh yeah.
I made a video. I had Hulk gloves on, and I was hitting the pinball with these big Hulk gloves, and sent it up to them, and they're like, "Oh, this game uses the Xbox Live Vision Cam. We need it." And so that's how we got our first party publishing deal and launched onto Pinball FX onto Xbox Live Arcade.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was the number one game on Xbox Live for like until Minecraft launched.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many games did you launch with when you first put it up? Do you remember?
We had a 3-table pack. And then we launched Nightmare Mansion, was the first expansion, I believe. And then we got the idea for Pinball FX 2. We needed to upgrade the whole platform. That's where we decided, hey, maybe people want to bring their then we started doing imports. Was that FX 2 to 3? Yeah. Anyway, somewhere in there we became a free platform. So you could just download, and then you could decide what kind of games you wanted to buy. So we were actually the very first free to play game at least on consoles. It was just like a novel concept.
Wow.
I don't think it was being done yet, even on mobile. We just thought people would want to come in, and we'd let them buy what they wanted to buy, and then that kind of turned into the free to play platform.
That just snowballed from there.
Yeah. So in the name of pinball, we innovated all of video games.
Yeah, might as well. It works.
Anyway,
then you went FX 2, and then you went FX 3. I feel like FX 3 came a bit quicker than 2 did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but
I think it was a 5 or 6 year run for FX 2.
Okay.
And then FX 3 was, good 3 or 4 years. We changed engines. We had our own PX engine, which the pinball engine, and we couldn't really afford to keep it going because we were getting left behind when new consoles and new hardware were coming. It was just we're not like Activision or EA. We're not getting PlayStations, 2 years before they're coming to market, and then we were a year before we could release a game, and everybody was upset. So we're like, well, we should take Epic. So the engine work is already done on their side, and that's been a challenge. I do wish that we'd stay with our own tech. I think it'd be better for a pinball game, but through the years and the way the industry changes, you gotta figure and make your moves.
Sure. Yeah.
Is it still possible to reprogram the game to get on your own servers, or are you guys locked in with Epic for the stretch?
We're locked in with Epic, and if we were going to do a full tech change, it would be a massive undertaking at this point. I don't think we'll ever go back. Something very significant would have to happen. But I think Unreal is great. We figured out how to use it. We've kind of made it our own. But it's just the games are so big and heavy. They're massive installs. Back with PX, one of the cool things was the optimizations that we got out of it, and we could make the file sizes so much smaller and lightweight. The physics, I think, we could get more honed in quicker. So there's certain things, but it is nice. It's supporting new hardware way before we could ever do it, and that's a huge advantage.
That's
awesome.
Very cool. I know you mentioned that in between the pinball games, you guys like to dabble in some other projects. We've seen things like Castle Storm, Circus Electrique, Operencia. Do you have any other non-pin games in the works right now? Anything you could share with us?
We are in, I would say, hyperactive pitch mode right now. We have several really, I would say, studio-changing type of opportunities in front of us, and we need to decide which one we want to do. We were pitching several projects simultaneously to see what the appetite was from first parties, from publishers, and we're getting lots of yeses all at the same time, which is scary. So we need to figure out what we want to do. But so very soon, we're going to have something. The next Zen non-pinball thing will be the biggest Zen non-pinball thing we've ever done.
Wow.
Oh,
you've done some interesting, wide variety of projects in your catalog. So that's cool.
Biggest as in terms of scope or license?
Kind of both. If you look at what we've done with RPGs, Castle Storm, it's a genre mashup, and I'd say that there's been a 10 to 15 year investment into our RPG / super genre mashup type of development. So it's not brand new. I mean, it's seasoned, it's experienced. Operencia, Circus Electric were certainly leading us down a path, and we had to pause while the studio kind of reconfigured. But now we're ready to go on that again, and I think that our capability and our experience is going to lead us into something really exciting.
That is very awesome to hear.
Yeah, and might I say, the alignment. If you've paid attention to Embracer Group, I mean, you can kind of see the way the company. I mean, there's for all of its, everything the way that's panned out. I think that there is alignment happening, and there's the studios that are a part of it in certain aspects. Like, we will benefit from what I think was the original vision of Embracer. I think it will eventually happen. At least for Zen, I can see it aligning.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Cool. How well? I think you said you'll be talking soon about where you've landed. In terms of the Saber and all that stuff. It'll be exciting to hear that news, and it sounds like things are moving in a good direction. So,
yeah, it definitely is, and I'm very happy about that because, been at Zen quite a while. Love to see everybody taken care of and good things happening for us.
Very awesome.
I have some questions from the Arcadian. Joe, can I read the questions from the Arcadian to
Absolutely.
SML? The Arcadian is a music buddy of mine. He is a video game music arranger, singer person. We've done some shows together. We're doing more. He's also a pinhead, and we've been doing some pinball music live. We're going to be doing a full band show in Syracuse in October. We're going to be playing some Monster Bash, some Swords of Fury, some Bonsai Run, some stuff. We're trying to make the VGM community know that PGM is important. That's our goal. But Arcadian wanted to come on and ask some questions, but it was unable. So I'm going to read these to you, and you can answer these in any way you see fit. Also, this is really interesting because some people, these may be you've been on 7 times, but some people may be hearing, you for the first time on here. So these are good questions.
Yep.
What does the selection process look like when it comes to picking out your tables? Are there limitations on what you can pick from, or is it more of a sky's the limit type thing? Now, I think excluding the licensing part, what does the process look like? How do you decide what it is you want to do? And what kind of limitations other than licensing do you run into?
Okay. First of all, I'll say we're really lucky in a sense that we get a lot of inbound requests. We used to have to go outbound and try to kind of, knock on doors and stuff. Now we have a steady flow of, hey, you guys want to work together, which
cool.
creates opportunities, right? And that's really good. But I'd say the 2 most important things right now, and this has been true for a while. One, we've made a lot of games, and so our designers, I kind of give them now almost first pick as to what they want to work on, because I want us to have an inspired game, and I want it to be something that they're a fan of and that they're excited about. If we come at it from the business angle, of course they're going to make me a game and they're going to do the best, but when it's something that they've had a hand in the decision and it's something they're truly a fan of and excited about, the game is going to be way better. I guarantee it. So that's number one. Once I know that the designer's inspired and really happy with the project. Number 2 is we need to qualify the IP or the theme, whatever, to see if we have truly an opportunity to make a unique game mechanic based on the source material, something we haven't done before to make the game feel fresh. Because again, making so many games, it would be very easy to get into oh, this game is just like this one, or there's nothing really new or exciting going on here, or whatever. So we need to qualify the IP, that the source material is giving us opportunity to do something new and innovative on the game to make it stand out on its own. Those 2 things, those 2 boxes need to check, absolutely. And then from there, we go through, and of course, some business questions start to come up. But if we don't answer those 2 the right way, it doesn't even go to the business phase. So we're coming at it purely from creativity at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if someone is making a table and they're not into it, that comes out often in the product, right? I mean, you're always going to make something better if you love it. So I love that. That's great.
I think if you look at some of the games we've done over the last couple of years, there might be some head scratchers in a sense of wow, that's interesting. I didn't expect that. It's because we went through this creative process, and those two boxes were the first things checked. I know a lot of people were kind of surprised with the Princess Bride or
saying that right now, and I was thinking that would be a good example for what you're talking about. And Goat Sim was kind of out there as well.
Goat Sim, yeah, it's already out there. That's good.
There's been so many good tables lately. There really have.
There were some movie ones like The Thing and Chucky. Were those kind of out of the love of horror with the studio, or was that just sort of like a pig pile? Was that something I never would guess that a Thing table would be made? People love The Thing; it has a new life. But was that someone passion project table, or was that a different kind of thing?
Well, in general, horror and mature theme kind of stuff has been something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and we've had a lot of demand for that. And so we've done sort of mature theme things in Pinball FX, but we had to tone it down. Doom, even South Park, back in the day with Ninja Gaiden, we had to do things to make it an E10 rating.
Right.
When we decided we were going to do an M-rated platform and we could do it, we could embrace source material like that. I'm telling you, Chucky and The Thing were 2 of the very first requests from my designers. I said, what do you want to do? There's a million choices here. And they're Chucky and The Thing. I said, okay. So
that's great.
And of course we had the relationship with NBC, so with Universal, and so we were able to get those done.
Chainsaw Massacre was awesome.
Chainsaw Massacre was
the chainsaw cutting up the pinball and blood spraying everywhere. So fucking cool.
Yeah. For me personally, I was okay, this is I'm not letting my girls play this one, but
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was good. I do enjoy it.
Another question: any tables that haven't been selected that you would love to see on the platform personally? Like if you were a designer and you were to put your hands to it, is there something that you would want done?
Yeah, there's a couple that I've put forward, and again, I don't like to say names unless something
Sure.
But there are games I put forward that I thought would be great from both commercial and design perspective, and yeah, I was shut down. So there are games that I would like to do, and they're still waiting there, and it's available. And if we're bringing in new design talent from time to time, or giving someone the role of a designer as they come up in pinball development. So it might be their cup of tea, it might be something they're really into, and then we can do it. Mm-hmm. But we've been doing this far too long to just like say, no, we're doing this for commercial reasons.
Sure.
It's not working anymore. So.
Dig it. And last question from the Arcadian, which may or may not be something you could even speak to, but song licensing question. Will we ever see pinball soundtracks from Williams on streaming platforms? Now, obviously, you don't have the licenses for all of that music. You work with it. You work with Williams too for your own, nefarious video game things. But do you have something to say on that question? Any thoughts?
There's nothing blocking us from doing it with Williams' original games and music. We have a pretty our license that allows us to do that. I think we actually ran was it Swords of Fury for like 7 hours on YouTube. It might still be living up there.
Really?
No, Whirlwind. Maybe it's Whirlwind. I forgot what it was. I have to look. So we can do certain things. If there's anything third party owned or a question of, like usually our rights just cover the game and distribution, but no digital distribution just for the tracks.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, those are the Arcadian questions. Thank you, sir.
No, I have an odd question. I'm not sure if it could be answered, but I'm wondering if the statute of limitations is up. Back on 304 during Ball Squad, that was a very special episode where we had you and Mike from Farsight on together. At the time, did you know you guys were getting the Williams license?
Can you date episode 304 for me?
Oh, God. Let me pull it up quick. Ball Squad episode 1 was 8 years ago, August 11th, 2017. 2017.
Let me do a quick thing to give you percent. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew that we had it then.
That makes that episode so much more interesting now.
That might have been my best play acting ever.
Unbelievable.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So I have a question about sourcing tables. Are you getting? Because I think Williams basically retired from the industry in like '99 or something like that, right? Like, are you getting these source machines from collectors and museums, or does like Williams have some of these tables sitting around in a warehouse somewhere for you to access?
Our primary avenue to get the machines into our studio is through the Budapest Pinball Museum, who we have a really good relationship with, and they maintain games like to the highest quality. We also support them. The Pinball FX charity pack in our game, half the proceeds of the sales of that, or half the whatever, goes to the Pinball Museum. The other half goes to a pinball charity in New York. So nice. That charity pack is supporting either the museum or the charity. But that's where we get our units from. If they don't have one that we really want to do, as is the case with one game, we're actually in purchase of buying it right now, and then we're going to donate it to the museum once we're done with it. So,
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is the market pretty much available out there? Like I just am aware of what's, on the Pinside market or Craigslist around here. What's it like out in Europe? What's it like over there?
It's more expensive than here in the US, and shipping there is crazy.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah. I'd say prices are 25 to 30% higher on average in Europe. We could buy a game here and ship it there, and then it'll probably almost sometimes be the same price once you're done with buying it and shipping it. So,
do you ever pay more for shipping than the table?
I don't think we've done that quite yet. but it's been close. It's been more like it costs almost 3/4 the amount of the machine costs just to ship it.
Shit.
Yeah, but in Europe, I mean, there's a really good. I would say that you can find anything in Europe just as you would in the U.S. Maybe some games are a little more difficult to find, but for the most part, it's on par with the U.S.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Well, I know we are nearing the top of the hour. We should probably dive into some final questions for you so you could hit the road. I know you have a hard out time tonight. We appreciate you making the time to come chat with us once again. Bri, you had a question about a certain theme song, didn't you?
Oh, I mean, I had just, I have no idea now. Super helpful.
She was asking me if you, Mel, are familiar with the Ball Squad theme song and your thoughts on it.
Oh, yes.
I am intimately familiar with it, and I would love to find a way to use it somehow.
Use it in a trailer.
It should probably be updated to change a few names. I mean, 'cause I think I do call out everyone that was on that episode from 2017. So
yeah,
we'll have to just
simulator.
We'll have to Bri will have to be the simulator.
Can I get right for that and put it like as some of the an option of theme music in Pinball FX? I think that would that could be a cool little thing to put in.
That would be amazing.
Can you extend the instrumental to like 2-3 minutes and put it on a loop?
Joe, I can do anything, man. You just need to tell me. Well, I put Christmas bells on all my songs for you at Christmas.
Do.
I can extend I can extend a song if I have to. It's just
No,
whatever's needed.
The acoustic version, and there is an Easter egg.
Oh, there is an acoustic. Well, no, that wasn't real. Was that just on stream one time?
You played it during Ball Squad episode.
Oh, that's right. I did. I forgot about that.
You sent me that the other day,
and we were all giggling along as you played.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Oh, Grant. Any final questions on your end?
Well, I have one more, and it's very important, and I'm done. Mel, you still got fishtails? ? If you do, does it work? Maybe, and if you don't, did you make good money off of it?
It still doesn't work.
You do have it.
I still have it.
All right, there you go. You got there's a broken fishtails that's been sitting in his house for what, 10 years? I don't know, maybe more.
Yeah, I'm afraid to spit out my zip code, but there's not a lot of people who would know how to work on it here. Or within, I would say 120 miles, 150 miles.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it makes sense.
I have to get to the Bay Area, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Well, hang on for dear life, because it's not going to go down in value. You'll get it fixed eventually. Or your girls will get into soldering, right? They can take care of it.
My last question. Goliath, is that a possibility?
Ooh. You know what? The Budapest Pinball Museum has a Goliath. That would be quite a project.
I think that would be a really interesting table to have in FX. They had it at MagFest. I got to actually physically play that game.
Yeah.
And holy hell, that's a friggin' weird game to play. Hitting a pole cue?
Yeah, Bri, it's a pinball machine that's sized up so much that the ball is an actual cue ball, cue ball, and that would be an interesting thing to see what Unreal would do. Right, you just literally make it bigger and make the ball bigger, and just see how the physics handle it.
So that could be really interesting. I'm thinking in terms of VR, and then also just in your Pinball FX lounge, on PC, just. In the center of the room, having a Goliath.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny! Yeah, it could be actual size. That would be amazing. That's Atari, isn't it? Didn't Atari make that? Atari is all about everything now. They might be into. I think it's Atari. Let me look.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's Atari. So unless it was I don't know. Good question there.
That could be a potential question. Is there any possibility of talking with Atari about some kind of Atari pinball collection interactive documentary like Atari's been doing with the Atari 50, Karateka collection, all of that weird stuff?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends at Atari. Larry Cooperman. I don't know if you know him from Night Dive Studios. They're part of Atari, and we did System Shock Pinball, arguably an Atari, owned game. I know Wade Rosen over there very well, and others. So maybe we should get on the horn and spit some ideas out here again.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you and Mike on together. That would be amazing.
Yeah, Mike. Yep, Mike's over there. I had my first meeting this morning at 5:30 a.m. I'm forgetting the name of his studio, but they're doing very good work as well. So
nice.
It's Digital Eclipse, right?
Digital Eclipse. Yeah.
I would love to. I don't ever expect you guys to be doing like modern tables, but it would be amazing to be able to do some old Sterns and along with that Data East, because I know they're all lumped up in the Stern stuff too. But some classic Stern, some old Stern tables are gems, and I'm sure you guys have had that discussion at some point. But that would be a fun thing to see at some point.
Hell yeah! You know what, dude? Is like you think about how long pinball has been going and how long Zen has been working on things, and you still just us talking here, we realize all the different opportunities and cool moments that we could still create. It's just like mind-boggling to me, because you think you've done it all, and it's just like no. Just think about it for a minute. There's so many opportunities, and a lot of talks happen, and things. It's all about timing. Might not be the right time this year, but like you come back to it at 12, 14 months later, 16 months later, perfect time. So
it's true. And pinball has done nothing but grow in incredible ways in the last 10 years. Like I've sold 3 machines in my life, and I wish I would still have them, only for the fact that I could sell them for 3 times more now. There's barcades everywhere, like pinball tournaments and Twitch channels are bigger than ever. So the industry's only grown, which is great for you, and great for us, unless you want to buy a machine.
Spendy, aren't they?
Digital
we got pinball VR. Who cares?
Games, right?
Yeah, we got VR. Who needs them? Put 10 machines in your house.
Yeah, it's solving a lot of problems, solving the space and money issue for sure. And then at games, we haven't even mentioned them really, but that's another kind of, at that tariffs are hurting the pricing right now, but it's still affordable. If you want to have a physical presence and you can't afford, the big time machine. So.
Yep.
I think our buddy Big Adam's getting a digital pinball table soon.
He's getting that one too. He's going to get an At Games table. He's getting that. It's a nice one.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, Mel, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We love when you come on. Whenever you've got some new news to talk about with Zen and Pinball FX and all that stuff, you said October might be a big month. Come back on, chat with us. We love having you on here.
Okay. I think October was probably going to be a good time. I think you'll be excited about what we announced. So we can plan my next visit then. It'll be, not such a wide episode gap.
Lucky number 11 pinball is coming.
Jeez.
All right.
Mel, do you have any final words before we let you get going?
Oh, it's been great. Thank you all so much. Thanks to anyone who plays Zen's games. We appreciate it. And we love doing it. So thanks.
Ball squad. Just go for the skill shot. It's a house ball. Ball squad. Shoot the green, lock 'em up, jackpot. Mike is the simulator, Mel is the Zen, Joe with the milky voice, Stemage the Uber fan. Woo! Ball squad. It's a ball squad.
There you go.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Another huge thanks to Bri and Grant for coming on to hang out as we chatted with Mel, Kirk at Zen. Love having Mel on. Love chatting about Pinball FX, all the cool tables coming out. And yeah, hopefully we get something set up for October. That would be great to have him back on. Chat about the future projects they've got going on. But for the future of SML, we've got reviews. And with that, Chris and Pernell are here. How are you two doing?
Doing all right. I was sick yesterday, so I'm going to sound a little more like a dude today.
Yeah.
Look like a dude and more like a dude.
I think everybody's been getting sick. Jacob was sick last week. I'd blame him for all of this, really. Son of a bitch.
What did he have? Did he have the get friend sick virus is what it was?
Probably. Got
Oh,
dickhead syndrome.
Wow, we love
I hear
it.
that. I hear that's chronic.
Yes.
Jacob, he's our bro. If he can't do it, great.
Yeah.
I think Jacob's perfectly fine.
Anything big either of you want to chat about, or should we just jump into these and get this over and done with?
I can't think of anything, to be honest.
If there was anything, I've long since forgotten.
Oh, I got a question, Chris. I looked at the Discord. Dipping the toes into Final Fantasy 11?
Yeah. I'm playing Final Fantasy 11 now. My first
that?
ever MMO.
That's the surprise to me. Of all, what, 11 instead of 14?
Well, yeah. 11's cheaper. And also, I wanted to play them in order. I was especially curious about 11 because I've always wanted to play it. When I found out they're still going, and I have a couple friends who are like playing it still, I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I decided to jump into it.
Did you finish up 10? Like, did you get through the first 10 already?
Well, I beaten the first 10, except, well, in 10 itself, Final Fantasy 10, but I've gotten to the end, and I've many times. So, like, yeah, I know it. The end of 10 is like, I just didn't beat it myself yet. But no, not like on my stream or anything. I'm still on 3. This is just, like I said, the timing of it was basically such that it was like, well, I have some extra time off because of not having a job. So, you know, doing the cliche thing of why don't we start an MMO and get addicted to it? I haven't got
day-long streams.
I haven't streamed any of it. No, I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, it's
I think
I haven't done
it. That would be a fun one to watch stream.
And
maybe I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because I haven't played one before. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing, so I'm just kind of like, it's exciting to watch. It's it's just kind of like right now I'm just learning like what things do, and like like I haven't even started the story yet, and I've been playing it for 2 days because I'm just kind of I'm like, I just want to figure out
playing with helping you out.
Just a couple, and we only played for the first time the other day. So, and yeah, it's nothing to. Does it say on Discord that I'm playing Final Fantasy 11 when I am?
We have a little activity section, and it shows you.
Oh, that's right.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 11. It shows Tim was playing Death Stranding.
Nice.
Yeah,
and you're playing Vampire Survivors, or were 3 days ago.
I never.
You were
see
3 days ago. It says.
So I never know what it shows for me.
Yeah, I don't see
Vampire
myself
Survivors
either.
3 days ago.
Oh, what the fuck? Aki's here.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, what the fuck? Get out! No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, we have a button for this. We actually have a button for this.
Get the fuck out my ring!
Something like that.
No, you could stay. How are you doing, Aki?
Pretty good. Literally just finished a D&D session and immediately headed over in here.
Have you ever played Final Fantasy 11?
Nice.
No. I don't tend to play MMOs because
Neither does Chris.
Yeah.
He's playing Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah.
well then he does play MMOs now, doesn't he?
No, I guess.
Exactly. I don't.
Because it is possible to grow and change as a person.
It is.
I don't.
No, it's literally just like I just didn't feel like I had time for it before, and now I feel like I do have time for it. And like I said, having people who are already like kind of there doing it and cooking and like showing me the ropes is handy. So, yeah, it's good so far.
Did you start in?
I gotta remember Windurst. Yeah, it seemed like it's got that great JRPG trope of big tree. Being a Dragon Quest guy, I'm really into big tree as a thing. So I figured, hey, I'll hang out here in the forest and surrounding areas, and that's been good so far. I'm playing as a thief.
On and off so many times, and I've never started in Windows.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an old game. Yeah, I decided to start there, and it's been good so far for that. Like I said, it's I'm playing as a thief character, so I'm just kind of like, and I'm definitely like, apparently this is something that people just stop doing at some point, but I am trying to open all the treasure chests as they drop. I got about I'd say over 50% success rate.
Nice. I don't know if they've changed treasure chest spawn rates or not, because I haven't played it in so long, but I would absolutely say that you should stream playing it, for the main reason is that viewers will absolutely help you out with this game. And this is one of those games where you should take every bit of help you can. Like when I first started 11, I had no clue. You start in a city and it's go. Okay, where?
Yeah.
Go. And do what?
For games like that. No, thank you.
There was zero direction in that game originally. And I was lucky that two guys were basically just spawned next to me, and I just typed out, "What do I do?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, I just logged in for the first time. And they're like, "We're going to send you a thing called a link pearl," or whatever it was called. Just accept it and we'll talk to you through the game. And they helped me out. They got me equipped. They got me started with quests. They got me out killing fucking little rabbit assholes. Accept any kind of help you could get with this game, because this is a tough one.
Oh no, my friend that like kind of inspired me to start it sent me like paragraphs over Discord in a DM, just like here's the most handy stuff, and then like once I got all that done, it's like, oh, you'll pretty much figure out the rest. And sure enough, I've been figuring out the rest. I did a quest. I haven't finished it yet, but I like. That's only because of yesterday and today. I haven't been feeling well, so I haven't logged in. But I've already finished my first like little side quests and stuff. Kind of figured out what to do there, and it's
the quest was for. But there's one of the main story, quote unquote, quests or objectives you gotta do is collect 3 items from monsters in a desert and turn them into one guy in the town there. The problem is the game never tells you about the monsters, about the items, what you got to kill, or who to even give it to. I learned it by everybody else in the game.
Yeah, that's sort of what this quest is that, it just so happens that I got one of the items dropped from that monster so far. Like, I just accidentally already had the item. And so I was like, oh, they must want more of these. And so I went out and got the other ones. I'm working on the last one, but yeah. And the other thing is that, like, now that it's been 20 years, it's like all of the super well documented. Like, you could just look it up by the title and somebody will tell you exactly what, it'll tell you exactly what to do if you don't feel like figuring it out, which, some people definitely would not, especially since it's like some of the quests are just find invisible things on the ground. And, so things like that, you can just kind of, I'm just gonna skip past all this and just do it. And then, it's, That's how a lot of the games are, though. Like, if you play a open-ended sandbox RPG, they'll have some side quest that's just ridiculous, so you just look it up.
I used to have
the
a
only
strategy
one
guide and an atlas for the game. I'm sure those are like super accurate still.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know, but I will say the only game where it's like open-ended, open box. Not what am I saying? Open box. Open-ended, like sandbox style RPG, where I did figure out every single thing on my own was Skyrim. So if there was a quest that was like find 30 red Nern roots and Blackreach, not Blackreach. It might be Blackreach. I don't remember the name of the thing right now because my brain's fried. But yeah, the big underground area that's like it's like 5 square miles of like just hills and cave walls and things like that. It's like find 30 Nern roots around here. I did that without looking it up. So, and it was for literally nothing. There was no reason to do that quest except to be like, I did a quest.
Yeah, that's a fun game though.
No, I love Skyrim. Did I tell you about the 3,000 hours I spent in it?
Never heard of that. No, I don't think you ever mentioned it on the show before.
No. It used to be all I streamed back in 2019.
We all have that game. Like for me, it's Earthbound. Like I could always go and start a new Earthbound game.
No, yeah.
I'll get 10 hours in and then stop and play something else.
I've beaten Earthbound several times. I actually need to start a new game for footage reasons.
Aki, you ever play Earthbound?
No, I'm not old enough to have played that.
It's available.
That's an old fucking game, and I haven't played it.
For shame.
I guess.
Pernell, what do you think of Earthbound?
Wanted to give you a little bit of suspense before I told you. Of course I fucking played Earthbound. Come on, man. Earthbound's the shit. One of the best. And it's funny, too, because I remember when it came out, I originally was like, this looks stupid. Why would I pay money for this? You can't even see your characters in battle. This is lame. We've gotten past this. And I think it was a combination of them including the strategy guide and the box being really big, and also the fact that modern themed RPGs, especially then, were very, very rare. So the idea of campy, wacky, and modern was like, fine, I'll give it a shot. And I became obsessed with it. It went from me being like, yeah, the combat looks dumb, to, wow, these monsters are very entertaining, to, man, I gotta keep mashing A before the roulette runs out on my life bar when that tree exploded. It's even this many years after it came out, it's ridiculous to feel like this is one of the few games I can say it's one of a kind. Still, nothing's come out since that game that has even come close to doing what it does, even though games have come out with the intent to replicate what it did.
Yeah.
No one's pulled it off.
Agree.
And then they're still like,
can you imagine being like one of those guys at Best Buy back in the day, and you saw them clearanced out for like $4.97. You just bought 10 of them and threw them in your garage and forgot about them for 30 years.
God,
I definitely wouldn't have done that.
Could you imagine?
I'm just glad that I got lucky when I did, because I bought it, played through it and beat it, and then sold everything for Saturn. Every Super Nintendo game I owned, I sold to get a Saturn and Guardian Heroes and Rayman. And then I had so was Guardian Heroes. It was just the value of all the games I sold. That's the problem. But the games I got were great. But I got that moment like a lot of us did back. It was like, I miss all the games I sold, and emulation wasn't popping like it is now. So I was like, let me see if I can get all these games back. Mega Man's I got back, luckily, because some guy was moving back to overseas and flipped them. He was like unlocking his stuff, and he's like, hey, I got these games. You want to buy them? I was like, oh my God, Mega Man, I'll totally buy those. And he really was going to sell them for $10 a piece. And he saw how excited I was and was like, did I say 10? I meant $25 a piece.
Oh, you're a dick, man.
I looked at my friend and was like, piece of shit. But then of course I remembered they're still worth more than that. So I was like, oh, you piece of shit. But you know what? It was my own fault. I guess you can rip me off.
Aki, have you ever played Mega Man?
No, the standard ones. No, I have played a Mega Man game, but none of the standard ones. No.
Which one?
Yeah, I'm wondering what the not standard one was.
There was one on the Nintendo 64 where
Legend?
he maybe, I don't know. He was running around town. It was more like an RPG than anything.
It was the only one. It was definitely Legends, though. They called it Mega Man 64 for some reason.
Yeah, I loved that game, and I want more of those. That game was so fun.
Yeah, that is a great game.
Great. Still probably one of the biggest travesties. Yeah, I still think not getting Legends 3 is still a travesty this many years later. Yeah. They were knee deep in the tease for that. It was like, oh, now we're just not going to do it because of corporate, internal politics.
Legends 3, Mother 3, Half-Life 3, Left 4 Dead 3.
Well, at least Mother 3 got made.
Yeah.
We can play
never bring it to America officially.
No.
Yeah, it makes me sad that they don't, but at least we can play it.
Yeah, that's good on the fan community for providing.
That's right. They took care of us.
Definitely my bread and butter sometimes because I play so many fan translations.
I still need to play through Mystic Arc for that reason.
Hell yeah, I love Mystic Arc. I'm playing through that right now, actually.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've beaten it before, but I'm playing through it again.
Of all the games I could have named, maybe I should bug you for some pointers to get started.
Mystic Arc is a slow starter, for sure. Like, you kind of have to stick with it. Because you do what seems like a lot of stuff just by yourself. And then once you unlock the ability to have like other partners and stuff, and like you start getting into other worlds and everything, then it really opens up, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is what this is, So it's like almost like, it's almost like a first town, like the first couple towns and first like 3 or 4 dungeons is like a tutorial.
Aki, you ever play Mystic Arc?
No,
never even heard of it.
Yeah,
it would have been a funny one if she would have said, yeah.
He was like, yeah, that one. Oh man, that was a blast back in the day.
Who hasn't played Mystic Arc?
Yeah.
she loves Legend of Dragoon.
Yep, one of my favorite games of all time, even to this day.
One of the rare collectibles I had that you'd actually appreciate. I have a Rose action figure.
I didn't even know they made action figures of that. Oh, I'm jealous.
Very briefly, they had Rose, Dart, and I want to say whoever the female lead was. I think there was Lavitz too, but definitely the female lead,
Shanna.
Yeah, and I ended up buying Rose because Rose was the best character. So
yes, she is. You are correct.
See, sometimes we got it in common. I'm telling you.
There's a reason why
there's harmony in the group once again, thanks to Legend of Dragoon.
There's a reason why basically...
Dragoon?
What?
Did you play Legend of Dragoon?
No.
Yes, I have played it. Yeah. I streamed through.
Oh my god.
I streamed through about 5 or 6 hours of it, but I have not beaten it, so I need to go back and beat it.
Yes, you do.
If you want to be bad.
So last time I was playing it, I was just farming money constantly because I wanted to get all of the armors that gave you like 50% damage reduction of physical, and the other one that gave you the same for magical. I was trying to just equip everybody with one of each. So I was just sitting there farming at end game just because fuck it, why not? Because I'd already beaten it a couple times before, and I was like, why not just grab this? I mean, I already have.
Dragoon's too expensive to be a fuck it, why not?
I don't know.
No, it's pretty reasonable still by PlayStation 1 RPG standards.
Is it 15 on there? 20 on there?
Yeah.
On PS4, PS5. I don't remember how much it was on there.
Oh, Legend of Dragoon. Yeah, it is. I was talking about like the actual original copies.
Oh, it's $10 on there. That's not bad at all. There you go. Get to it.
Let me see. Yeah, you can get it for less than $50 still in the case and everything.
Nice.
Like that's super low by and I'm seeing several listings that are like that, 50 or 49 or whatever. 39, here's one with free shipping. Complete inbox.
Chain decos. I don't know what the hell's going. Like, I was hoping we were going to be covering the DLC like this week for that game. Apparently they haven't gotten them yet. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, they're waiting on Nintendo to approve them, is what the email said.
Meanwhile, I got to play Chain Decos. Bought it way back when, but you know the story.
Yeah. I restarted it somewhat recently. I don't think I'm going to beat it before the DLC comes up. That's okay. I remember enough about it that I won't be lost or anything.
DLC's out on Xbox. Is it just Nintendo that the holdup is?
Yeah, it's just Nintendo. I think maybe it wasn't an email. Maybe they said it on Blue Sky or something. I saw a thing that said basically they've been delayed on the Nintendo DLC specifically because of Nintendo. So.
Yeah, they'll do it.
It's fine.
Speaking of reviews, should we get to them?
No, never. No,
go ahead. Don't want to do reviews now anymore.
I mean, we're talking about 50% off. We kind of have like a 50% off review schedule instead of like 8 games. It's only 4. Not bad.
Ah.
Not bad at all.
Half the games for half the price.
Yeah. Half the effort. First game to talk about tonight is Rah Rah Boom, developed and published by Gylee Games, released August 12th, the Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Even Ninja Space Cheerleaders know you don't bring a pom-pom to a boss fight. Whether you're cracking skulls with close combat or blasting bots from across the screen, Rah Rah Boom has your back. Play it like a classic side-scroller, treat it like a shooter, or mix it up for combos so smooth even the evil AI can't keep up. The only wrong way to fight is not bringing your A game, because these overlords don't mess around. Pernell, what is Rah Rah Boom?
Rah Rah Boom is an interesting take on the beat 'em up genre in recent days, considering, seems to be like a bit of a re-renaissance in the genre lately. But in this context, this one seems to take like a slight nod to what games like Guardian Heroes attempted to do back in the day. Remember I mentioned that earlier in the episode? It's a callback, where this is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but they set it up so that there's like a lane system in the game that doesn't play so much like you'd expect it to. For the most part, the way it starts out is with a somewhat unexpectedly catchy, like a soundtrack song that doesn't click at first, but over repeat listens, it kind of gets catchy. Theme song for the characters, a la Saturday morning cartoon show. At which point you decide to start the game and you get an introduction of these 4 ninja cheerleaders, which is still throws what they call them ninja cheerleaders, because only one of them is even remotely resembling a ninja. But still, 4 cool characters who are attending school on a moon base of sorts until an evil AI attacks the base, resulting in them escaping and fleeing to the apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic Earth that they originally abandoned multiple generations ago. At this point, it's all about taking it to the streets or the mall or the amusement park or any number of one of the 14 or so stages to take back what's yours, being the planet Earth, using your ninja cheerleader squad. I only played the single player, so I have no idea how the multiplayer works as far as lives are concerned. But as far as single player is concerned, at the start of a level, you will choose one of the 4 characters to play as. Their performance is fairly different from each other in the sense that they have the same general moves, as in, they can run, they can jump, do like a basic melee combo, and they can also fire a firearm. But the firearm is different. Their base level speed and even a bit of their combo structure is a little different. And they also have an individual ultimate attacks that can be performed by way of beating up enough guys to charge up a super bar and performing that. And even though the general pyrotechnics of the ultimates look the same, the way in which the blast from the ultimate protrudes outward differs by character. So that may factor into who you want to play as well. I'll call back to the lanes thing that I mentioned again. The game very predominantly displays and puts out the lanes on the level you're in. It breaks them up and you can see it on the floor. as you move between them by just pushing up and down, as if you were just moving in any other beat 'em up, you'll transition from one to the other. So what I said by it being like kind of seamless and not noticeable per se is that even though you don't like jump from lane to lane like you would in like Guardian Heroes, your character can't say straddle the middle of them. When you push up, you go up one lane. If you push down, you go down one lane. If anything, I feel like the main reason why they did this in this game is for the firearms use, because I know in a game that will come up later in the episode, I would have wished that game had lanes, because if I'm firing a projectile in this, it's nice to know just by looking at the level I'm on or the ground I'm on, is the enemy definitely going to get hit by this bullet? Or am I going to be just slightly off by a whiff? So in that regard, I think it's cool. And there's even one boss at some point, I won't spoil the when or the where, that specifically comments and jokes about the fact that there are lanes on the levels to help you. So I do like that they did that, even though some people might not pick up on the why. I think that's personally why they did it. When you beat up robots,
I'm looking at the promo image for this game. If we didn't already have an image made for the episode for the pinball portion, our faces would be on for sure. And Jacob would be the one with the blue hair.
The cyborg one's my favorite one, by the way, with the blades. It's kind of funny too, because like one of the general gripes I was going to have about the game is that I felt like there wasn't, and it's like, it's hard to explain, but I think if you've played beat 'em ups, you'll know what I'm talking about. For a while, I didn't feel like the game had that oomph factor when you punch an enemy, you know? Hard to convey what I mean by that, but if you've played a beat 'em up, you know what I'm talking about. And yet, once I started using the woman with the blades and potentially upgraded some stats, which I'll talk about shortly, I started realizing it all. But I was like, oh, I guess that's the oomph. So maybe it was all in my head, or maybe I just had to use the right people to really get an envisioning of it. But it also may not have hurt that the enemies can get surprisingly aggressive at certain times, which means that if you're not careful, you will still pretty much get ganged up on and massacred early on in the game. But fortunately for you, this game does have an upgrade system, which may turn the tide in your favor in that capacity, in that regard. Because when you beat up enemies, they will drop scrap. And you can pick up that scrap as you run through the level. Of course, not of course, it's actually rare in these kinds of games. If the enemy hits you, you'll drop scrap, which you can thankfully pick up sometimes. So it's not like you lose it for good, but it can be annoying to just see your scrap meter just plummet because you're getting mauled by a robot pinball or pinball wizard, because there's a level that involves something like that. So you'll basically be doing that. If you get through an entire level, i.e. beat the boss and clear, you will be able to take your scrap and spend it at the scrap shop. And there are two different things you can buy with scrap. You can buy stat upgrades that comes across, I want to say it's like 15 different, it's either 15 or 12 different categories. I can't remember how many there is per segment, but there's basically like you can upgrade things like your attack damage, or your punch recoil damage or distance or whatever. You can upgrade your luck to give you an increase in item drops like health pickups or ammo pickups. Speaking of which, the other thing you can buy with your scrap are general overall upgrades. One such upgrade being the ability for enemies to drop specialized ammo, which will have different impacts on enemies, such as freeze bullets that will freeze an enemy, or electrical bullets that will do electrical damage, and so on and so forth. You can also think about things like an air dash and double jump. Quite a few different upgrades you can acquire. If you play particularly well, it actually won't take you too long to upgrade all these things. So this is not a deep and intricate customization system by any means, but it is still kind of nice to be able to say I'm earning more things with my booty that I earned from clearing a level. So, now in single player, because again, I don't know what happens in multiplayer. When you die in a level, you will lose that character for the remainder of the level, and the game will ask you to choose one of the remaining ninja cheerleaders to play as. So you will, for the most part, play as all of them, unless you're somehow sickeningly good, in which case, the hell with you. Yeah, for the most part, you'll get to play as everybody, and over time, you will develop who your favorite is. Again, my favorite would be the cyborg one, or the android girl with the dual blades, seconded by the main character with the Uzi, and then the blue hair girl with the shield, and then finally the ninja girl, the actual ninja. it's interesting in how this game works in that initially the music wasn't particularly popping for me, and yet by the time I was done with the game, I felt a little bit more appreciation for the music. I don't think it's not my style of music, but it wasn't bad by any means. It just wasn't my style of music. I like a lot of the more gritty stuff or the upbeat poppy stuff,
That's fair.
Graphically, I think the game is really nice. I like the vibrant use of color. The levels themselves are pretty cool, and I like the occasional environmental hazards, such as like ooze ripping off the ceiling that will do damage to you. The occasional level, like you got to dodge roller coaster cars. It's a fun little game, and I don't know how people will feel about the next thing. It can go either way, but one of the elements that they infuse to give you replayability is at the end of every level, you will be graded on your performance. And this is in the form of homework, because at the beginning of the level, you have to choose a homework requirement or whatever your main level goal is to complete it. So at the beginning of every level, it starts out with just being complete the level. And if you finish it, you'll get you'll get a stamp on it saying you completed the homework assignment, and it will grade you on your performance. Typical things like lives lost, how many times you got hit, blah, blah, blah. But if you decide to return to that level, you can do a second and then potentially a future homework assignment, such as the next one being finish the level while only using melee attacks. So that means no firearm attacks, which kind of makes me sad because the firearm attacks are part of the game. They're a fun part of the game. So I don't know, but challenging yourself, you'll do or try it or whatever. So, but it's a little bit of ways to add some replayability to the game. But for the most part, you're 4 ninja cheerleaders playing through 14 stages, beating people up with guns, melee attacks, and dashes. I do feel as though I appreciate the momentum that they give. I would say one thing that I wish the game had, even though it kind of does, but doesn't feel right, is, two things. It doesn't have a jump kick. So, how like in Ninja Turtles, you could jump in the air and then do like a jump kick across the screen and hit guys. Or in some cases, you might have the dive kick. This game doesn't have that. You can upgrade and get a launch and then like a spike attack, but that's not the same as a jump kick. And a jump kick is no jump kick.
Yeah,
and
if they come back, comes to mind when I think about that. Odd. Carry on.
Very odd. I mean, maybe they didn't put it in there because they felt like a lot of those games exploit the jump kick, but it's a staple that I've come to get used to and appreciate. So I'm kind of sad that it wasn't there. And I basically just played with the tools they gave me and made use of it. But no jump kick was a thing I just missed.
Aki, but I did appreciate. You were going to say it, weren't you?
It's like no. But with all that said, though, it didn't mean that I disliked the game by any means. In fact, I think the game is still pretty fun. Some of the later bosses can be annoying as ball get out, but I think that the game is still enjoyable. I like what they were going for, and frankly, I would like to see the next thing that this developer decides to come up with. But for now, I'm content with this one too.
Very good. Let's talk price. $20. What do you think?
I think it's a worthy purchase. There's a decent amount of playtime here, and it's fun.
Cool. All right, next one. I'm gonna have a hard time with this name. MADO Monogatari, Fia and the Wondrous Academy story, developed by Idea Factory, Compile Heart Sting, published by Idea Factory International, released July 29th on Switch, PS4, and PS5 for $49.99. MADO Monogatari began as a series of primarily first-person dungeon crawler RPGs created by Compile for the MSX and PC 98 during the 80s and 90s. Since then, MADO Monogatari has made a name for itself with the unforgettable characters, dungeon crawling gameplay. Notably, the renowned puzzle series Puyo Puyo is a spin-off of the MADO Monogatari series. How many times do they want me to say that? This is a hard one for me. Chris, talk about it. I'm pretty sure
that's why they may just say it. They knew.
That's a very unique situation, isn't it, Aki?
Unique.
Chris, what is MADO Monogatari?
Okay, so MADO Monogatari. You were right. I mean, that's pretty much the way it's pronounced. Yeah, it's a really interesting game because first person dungeon crawling, created by Compile back in the day, and Compile is what is, or was rather what is now Compile Heart. Compile Heart is like basically the creator of the series, in fact, starting a different company and just calling it Compile Heart. So very natural that they would have gotten into this series sooner or later. But yeah, this is interestingly the second of any MADO MONOGATARI games that have come out in English. The other one was Sorcery Saga Curse of the Great Curry God, which came out on PlayStation Vita back in 2013. So that's the only other time we've heard of this, apart from the Puyo Puyo series, which is very famous because it's a series that, at least for gamers our age, we'd know it from one of the many ways in which other characters and properties kind of treated it. So yeah, even though Puyo Puyo was an established thing in Japan, we got it as like Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and Kirby's Avalanche. So if you played either of those two games, this is the RPG from which the Puyo Puyo series was born. So it's lots of. It is one of those weird things that it ties a lot of things together in such a weird way. And the fact that Puyo Puyo is known here and MADO MONOGATARI is not is very funny, because that would be as if Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine was like a very famous game, but nobody had ever heard of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's like these are, Puyos are like the slimes to MADO MONOGATARI's Dragon Quest, In fact, they literally are slimes. So there you go. So yeah, this is very interestingly, I was very fascinated by the fact that they announced this. This is the first proper game that has been released outside of the PlayStation Vita. It, again, with its own name. They tried to rebrand it as Sorcery Saga, but you don't see that anywhere on this one. I mean, it makes sense. That's a pretty good translation of the title, but yeah, they just released it with its actual full ass name, as unpronounceable as it is. So
thanks, Idea Factory.
Yeah. So I've actually played MADO MONOGATARI because I looked into the Game Gear games, which so they had the games that had released originally on the PC-98 and MSX, and those were ported to the Game Gear and translated by fans into English. Thanks, fans. They have an interesting number structure. The first game was called MADO MONOGATARI 1, 2, 3. And then they came out with 2, and then they came out with 3. The reason why the first one was called 1, 2, 3 is it was literally a joke, because the Lotus 1, 2, 3 program had come out for computers at that point. So they were just, they were clowning on different software things, and that's the kind of humor this series has. So that's actually important. They were first-person dungeon crawlers, or you played as a girl called Arl, who was, in the first game, a kindergartner, literally a kindergartner in a dungeon, having to go through it in order to graduate as a beginner mage. And the interesting thing about the game is that it was a dungeon crawling RPG with random battles and boss fights and everything, without any numbers. Your health was reported by the facial expression that your character had. Your character's face was always in the upper right corner. It was a little bit like Doom, right? Except that she would just get sadder. She'd start off happy and then get sadder as she took damage. And that was your indication for how much damage you had. And then enemy sprites would change based on how much damage you would do to them, but it would never tell you how much exact damage. So you kind of had to get a feel for what worked on what. It was a really interesting system, and it also got ported to the Turbo CD. So I've actually played a fan translation of the Turbo CD version too. All this to say that the game definitely like always kind of had its own style, kind of couched in this cutesy style and like a lot of humor, and a lot of games are referring to like the other games, right? So like as you play through this game, you'll see like a lot of things pop up that you may not realize are a direct reference to like these old PC games. Like when you get to a dungeon and there's a skeleton drinking tea. That's literally a thing that happens in the first game. In fact, your little yellow critter that looks a little bit like a Pokemon is a carbuncle named Carby. And he is actually from the second game. There's an entire mission, like, and a whole plot thing, like, about obtaining that character, which implies heavily that Fia is probably related to the original protagonist. There's a lot of references to her grandmother and how, her grimoire that she has belonged to her grandmother and things like that. So we're kind of, I haven't gotten all the way through this game, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're kind of leading up to, is that this is the granddaughter of the original protag, along with the original Carby, because they refer to things that actually happen in the second game. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, you play as Fia. Fia is enrolled in the Magic Academy. Magic Academies, this isn't like one of those, like the book series written by a bigot kind of stories. This actually predates that by 20 years. There's always been Magic Academies in the MADO MONOGATARI series. So you are enrolled in it, but Fia missed the test to get into the school. She didn't realize, and she showed up for the like announcement, or like the opening ceremony, I guess you would call it. I don't remember what exactly it's called. So she's there for the ceremony, but she the test, and they were like, well, and she's like, oh no, now I can't get in. And they're like, we're gonna let you in anyway because of things we are not going to tell you yet. And then she's like, oh yay. And so she meets she gets in, and due to an incident, gets put into a special class with the other quote unquote troublemakers. And these troublemakers will make up your team for the game, because it's actually a dungeon crawler that is team based instead of just the one character. So you got Will, who is an extremely really wants to go Super Saiyan kind of guy that's trying to be a hero. Like basically he enrolled in the mages school because there's no hero school, is literally his reason for being there. You get Lena, who is the tsundere, like very off-putting at first, but she'll warm up to you eventually, kind of thing. And then what's his name? Tato, who is like kind of he's a guy with green hair that moves on its own, and he's basically like an opportunist, a kind of merchant character, a capitalist, if you will. And then you have Eska, who is completely silent and runs away from you a lot at the very beginning of the game. And then as you move on in the plot, she has a very strong personality that comes out in a very, very anime cliche way that I won't spoil, because it seems that the game would like you to be surprised by it. So let's just say she's very quiet at first, but keep an eye on her. So anyways, yeah, these characters will eventually become your fighting party. They all represent like they have different spells in their spell books and different like skills and things that they can do. This is important because the way the game works is that you go around this school grounds to these different sections until it's time to go to the dungeon. The dungeon is on the world map, and you unlock more areas as you proceed in the plot. And the way that it basically, funny enough, I'm just getting into the Trails series, and this is very similar to the way the Trails series works, is that you have segments where you're going around kind of gathering your craft and items and getting to know the characters, and then it's mission time and you go into the dungeons and like do the dungeons, often revisiting the same ones and the same kind of scenes. The difference here is that the dungeons are randomly generated in this, so there's no specific fixed dungeon thing. So they they're usually these pretty basic paths, very grid-like, that, you find random items on the ground, random enemies. You find the entrance and exits. If you've played Dragon Quest IX, it's a lot like the grottos in that game. I'm about 300 hours into Dragon Quest IX myself, so that's definitely the one I reached for as a comparison. The battles, although they are random, that is to say, if you run into an enemy, it takes you to a battle. You're actually running around and fighting the enemies in real time, so it's not turn-based. As you go through, each of the buttons will do a different thing. So you have a standard attack where you can just beat the enemy to death with your sword. Or you can cast a spell which has a certain area of effect, and as long as the enemy is within that area of effect when you cast it, then you'll hit them, and that will put. So this is another comparison here. So let's say you cast fire. Well, there's this gauge at the bottom of the screen that has several spots, and if you cast the fire spell, one of those dots will then be red, and it'll have a fire symbol. This is a lot like Chrono Cross. So what it is it's elemental residue. And so there are big spells that you can cast if you have the right number of residues on that gauge. So a really basic example is that you can cast I think it's Fireburst something. I have to look. Yeah, it's called Fireburst. So you would cast Fireburst if you have 2 fire elements on the grid. They don't have to be right next to each other. They don't have to be there can be other elemental residues on there. But if there's 2 fires, you can cast Fireburst, which is an all field. And that's very, very handy. So it behooves you to not only kind of figure out on the fly what spells you want to use so that you can unlock bigger and badder spells in the moment, but you can also, your teammates are AI controlled, so you kind of get to set their spell books a little bit too, and you can kind of tell them, hey, you should cast water spells and you should cast wind spells, so that when I cast my fire spells, we can now unlock this big ol' elemental messy spell. And so there's a lot of strategy on that too. So that's basically, how the fighting goes. It's like I said, it's figuring out the magic, the big magic, and just the regular attacks, getting through the battles, picking up items, and exploring a randomly generated dungeon. And like I said, you have the school where you learn about the characters, and there's also a ton of little things too. So the game has a pretty big crafting system. You do everything from farming to cooking to fertilizing trees to get fruit. Yeah, I don't know. And yes, of course, it has fishing. So you do have a fishing minigame in this. You can synthesize items to make more powerful items. You have a skill tree that you collect LP points in order to unlock. And you also have to take a class on the thing that you want to unlock. So it's both spending points and also going through a very, very short tutorial on how to do the thing. So there's a lot to do in this game, although the length of it is apparently long, which is true for all MADO Monogatari games. They've always been a kind of short entry-level type of experience. But yeah, this is... they've done quite a cool thing with this one, and like I said, they've broken away from the old formula of making it a first-person dungeon thing into, like I said, more of a team-based, kind of adventure. And yeah, I quite like it. It's very cute. It's very, very humorous. Whether you find it funny or not depends on how in tune you are with Compile Hard Idea Factory comedy games. I myself got introduced to it through Fairy Fencer F Advent Dark Force, which I adored. So I really, really love the humor in this game, but some people may find it, your Neptunia haters and stuff will probably, it's not as over the top as that, but it is over the top. And it's got all voice acting. It's got a lot of voice acting, but it's all Japanese, which will definitely convey the emotions. But of course, you won't be able to, if you're only an English speaker, then you can just go by the tone. But it's well translated. And like I said, it's very goofy and lighthearted. If it's like any of the other MADO Monogatari, maybe it does have a dark scene or two in it, but I haven't seen one yet. So, yeah.
All right.
That's the
let's
game.
talk price on this one. It clocks in at $49.99 for the size conscious. Only 1.7 gigs, so it's a tiny game.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I would pay that. I know there's a physical version, so if at $50, I would be looking for that instead of just the digital version. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a full-fledged RPG. It's got a lot to do. It's definitely for people who want to be a little more unserious, and that's always been the jam for this game series. And yeah, like I wish that they would. I hope that this one sells and that they think to bring back the other games. Actually translated rather than like, I think Egg Console came out with one of them and it's just still in Japanese because that's what they do. So, no, I think it's a buy it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's a very fun game. Like I said, you might find it a little light on tone and content. And if you do, then that may not be the game for you. But for those of y'all, like I said, that just want a little fun time doing like a game that kind of combines trails with dungeon crawling, I think you'll really like this one.
Very cool. And for those who do want a physical, it is available on Switch, PS4, and PS5 on Amazon, GameStop, Walmart, and Target. And if you jump on Iffy Store, you could get a collector's edition with a hardcover art book, soundtrack, a Shikishi board?
Huh. Shikishi? That sounds right.
Yeah, okay. A trading card, copy of the game, obviously, with a reversible cover, and a spoon.
Whoa.
A mini curry spoon.
Yeah,
It's
curry
like
is the...
Curry God game.
Because Fia is essentially a child, she only eats one kind of food, and that's curry. So that's a running joke in the entire series. Even though she's not always the protagonist. So like I said, Arl is the original protagonist, but curry is always the food in this series.
There you go. If you have $92.99, you can get a curry spoon.
I want it, but I'm unemployed, so
Yay.
I have to pass. Yay.
Hey, Pernell, did you see they have an A&W ice cream sundae soda?
Ooh.
No, I did not. Now that's something I might want to try at some point. To be fun.
Oh.
Yep, just found it.
So I know that we're usually talking about soda, and this is only tangentially related, but I found in the local corner store that Bluebell, which is a Texas brand of ice cream, has a Dr. Pepper float flavored ice cream.
Ooh.
So it's vanilla ice cream and Dr. Pepper swirl.
Yeah,
it's very tasty. My I can't eat it without my cats crowding around me. They really, really want that Dr. Pepper ice cream.
Damn.
Sounds like your cats have excellent taste.
Yeah, but they can't digest milk, so it's a rough time for them. I can't give it to them.
No.
Now, let's find out if we have good taste in games.
But yeah, they really...
Next game to talk about, Fallen City Brawl, developed by Fallen City Studio, published by eastasiasoft, released August 12th on Steam for $14.99. It will be coming to consoles later on. Brawl through the city in hard-hitting pixel art style, inspired by arcade classics. Inspired by the arcade beat-em-ups of the late 80s and 90s, Fallen City Brawl is a story of ambition and revenge told through intense side-scrolling pixel art action. Pernell, what is Fallen City Brawl?
This will be an easy thing to describe because it has a few changes, but for the most part, you've played games like this before. Think of a Final Fight visual style beat 'em up game, and you have the look of this game for the most part, as far as like just not necessarily comparing the sprite work, but the general look. Beginning of the game, you're going to choose from one of 4 characters who are going to take to the mean streets to pummel faces over the course of 7 stages. You have 1 woman, 3 men, 1 big dude, 1 black dude, and 1 regular white dude. It's a general setup. You hit the streets.
Was this made in the 80s? Because that sounds...
No, but they were definitely going for the vibe. In fact, I think the game's story takes place in 1989. So they were going for the vibe to the letter. When you are engaged with the game, you are scrolling from left to right, thinking hard enough. There is not a single level that goes from right to left. So left to right, and your portfolio or kit is as follows. You have a regular attack button, pow, 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 pow. And you can do the typical string of combos with that, straight punches. But one thing I like about this game is that if you end your combo by pressing up to attack a guy, you'll launch them forward. And if you end the combo pressing down with the attack button, you'll launch them upwards. So it gives you variety in regards to like how you want to wrap it up. If you want to keep them close, if you want to send them away or send them up for an extended combo. Your jump kick, this game has one. You can jump kick. Or you can also do like the kind of feint jump kick that I think Streets of Rage 2 is maybe one of the first things I saw. The Final Fight had it too, where you kind of hit them with the attack, but it doesn't knock them down. So you can kind of follow it with another kick or an extended melee combo when you hit the ground. You can grab people and hit them with the typical knee, or until you eventually decide to throw them. Though, unlike a lot of other games, unless a different character can do this, and the one I played as did not, you cannot flip over them to, body slam them if you don't like your positioning on how you have them grabbed. So once you grab them, it's kneeing them or throwing them over your shoulder, but there's no readjusting to that. One thing that they added to this game that isn't particularly common in games like this, they offer a counter system. If you are able to time the attack button pressing in the direction of the enemy, or not the attack button, it's a specific button unique for it. But if you time that button and pressing towards the enemy when they're attacking, you do a counter where you block it and then throw a punch in kind. And I did kind of like that some of the later bosses in the game sort of requires you to do that if you were going to attempt to hit a typical 3-piece combo on them. So something to keep in mind if that exists. I'm trying to remember something else I want to remember. Oh, yes. So there's also a basically it's like a firearm or throwable that you always have in your possession. However, the throwable itself is attributed to an ammo meter, which takes 1 ammo per use, and you replenish it by getting random pickups throughout the levels. As you're beating jerk bags up, they will drop a number of things, such as the occasional food item, which may also be an object, like a barrel or a crate, which, for the record, in this game, you can also pick up those things and throw them and hit enemies if need be. Sometimes you pick up motorcycles or various weapons lying on the ground. Sometimes they'll drop dollar bills, in which case you pick those up just to get additional points in your schema. And then the last thing they did, which is kind of a take it or leave it depending on who you are, is their super meter. And the super meter does something that I have never really seen a game like this do before, to be quite frank, in that it has 3 levels to it. And you will charge this up by getting the occasional crystals that enemies drop when you beat them up. Level 1, if you activate it, again, this is for the character I use, it might be slightly different for other people, but when you use it, you get a bit of a power juice, like a juice up, where your attacks do more damage. Level 2, you activate your riot attack. I've seen one where another character I use, he summons the police in a police car and they fire guns into the crowd. The character I use, she summons a dog who helps fight by her side, and she also gets a bit of a power bump. But the unique thing, that is in this game, if you charge it to the 3rd level, if you juice it up to level 3, you'll get a power bump. But in addition to that, you'll actually summon 2 special enemies that will try to kill you. You summon death. But these enemies are special in that they're called chaos enemies. And if you beat them up, they administer a ridiculous amount of points. And in addition to that, they sometimes will drop money, like not the money that I mentioned from the earlier enemies, but in this case, specifically coins. Kind of funny how dollars aren't worth as much as coins, but I digress. If you collect 100 coins a la Mario, you'll get a 1-up. So it behooves you to actively go out of your way to not use your super for as long as possible, specifically to summon these enemies onto the board to beat them up and get money. It's weird when you summon them during a boss fight, and now you're fighting the boss and these two super monsters and whatever enemy the boss is throwing at you. But the thing I mentioned before that people might not like, aside from the fact that, again, you're summoning enemies to beat you up, is the fact that when you do this, you start getting a lot of numbers that can be basically compared to the numbers you see in Space Invaders Old Extreme, where they're very large, very colorful, and if you're the type that doesn't like it, very intrusive. So they will very much impede or impair your display in a way that distracts you and kind of makes you feel like, why can't I just see the enemies I'm beating up instead of these crazy ass arcade numbers? But honestly, it didn't bother me too much. It kind of put me in the zone of like, oh, now I'm really kicking ass. It's just colors everywhere, almost like stars over the opponent's heads. But for the most part, that is the overall vibe of the game. The levels themselves are all pretty nice to look at. They did a good job with them. There's a couple elements to them that are visually interesting that may potentially impact the play, such as a snowy level that can obscure vision. But as you walk around the snow, you make trails in it so that you can reveal things that you might not have been able to see, like money that enemies dropped, or find throwable, or not throwable because you can't throw anything but you're throwable, but find weapons that they may have dropped, like a sword or a pipe or something. And another level where you're dealing with like grass on the ground or rain falling from the sky. They did a good job with those things. If anything, my main gripes about this game are the fact that I feel like it doesn't have very much in the form of replayability, aside from just being like, I want to play as a different character, because some might be hearing me say this and go, well, duh, Pernell, this is emulating the 90s, and 90s games were all short. The difference is this ain't the 90s anymore, and it's okay to want a game with more levels or some kind of way to tweak it up. But this game has 7 levels. You can wrap the game up in less than an hour on your first play, no problem. And the ending is the same for every character. Like, I beat it with Natasha, and the ending described what happens to everybody. So it wasn't even an element of like, okay, I can see what happens if I beat it with this guy, because it's always the same, no matter what you do. So I feel like they dropped a little bit of a ball on that one. But again, if the person is listening to me talk about this and they're saying the thing I just said earlier, well, then guess what? That's not a problem for you. Go out and buy the damn game. But because honestly, the game itself is very fun, and it does have the crunch factor. I felt good punching guys in the face in this game. Felt very good. So I think they hit all the notes. They got it right. The game is fine. It's fun. I just wish it had more meat on the bone to extend my playtime. But that also just boils down to what a person perceives to be their personal level of value. If you want to buy it full price and get that 7 levels of splendor, knock yourself out. You want to wait for a sale, knock yourself out. But as an actual game, surface level game, I think it's great. Well, I'm on my tirade, man. Well, you can ask now.
I was going to ask first, does it have any of those crazy, like, overpowered moves that wipe out the entire screen that you could just spam over and over? We know what move I'm talking about.
I honestly don't. I feel like you'll say it and I'll go, that shit. Thank God they don't have that shit. But they also, as far as the fuck yeah!
Welcome to MagFest.
God, if that's a reason to not go, I don't know.
Going to MagFest. I'm still at MagFest. If you've never been to MagFest, they do that shit constantly.
Yeah. So basically, this is not an advertisement for MagFest. This is a deterrent.
All right. Fallen City Brawl is $15. If you buy it by the 26th, you could save 10% at $13.49. But for $15, what's your verdict?
I'm ignoring the price because, again, I stated earlier, that's your choice to make on that. But as far as the game itself goes, I do think it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time with it, and I would recommend people looking for a beat 'em up. They're looking for a next one to try. This is one worth playing, so I'll give it a buy.
Very good. Any final thoughts on it?
If it was Final Fight, I had a really cool joke. But instead, I'm going to just scream internally. Because you keep playing that goddamn clip. Fuck that clip.
One last game to talk about tonight is Day of the Shell. Developed by Duper Games, published by Entalto Publishing, released July 29th, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $14.99. Day of the Shell is a fast-paced tactical roguelite where each turn is played in a single click. The gods have brought down their wrath on humanity and only a few remote islands remain. A lonely monster huntress has risen to the challenge and appease the gods, traveling through what's left of the world. Pernell, what is Day of the Shell?
This game, I will say, does what I would consider to be, it provides a unique take on this style of gameplay.
Also published on PC by Goblinz Publishing. My bad, forgot that.
Goblinz. True to what Joe said, this game is played using a whopping 2 buttons, 4 if you want to include the camera buttons.
It's just too much. That's complex. I can't do that.
2 max, time to quit. Nope, terrible game. No. So the idea behind this game is that you are moving from level to level with the intent being to clear all the opponents from the levels and then escaping before the entire level sinks into the ocean. Playing through the level consists of doing only 2 things: moving and shooting. And no, I'm not talking running gun. I'm talking, turn-based gameplay. But due to the fact that there's not a lot of inputs and things to do, it's fairly snappy. You'll be on a screen. There's a limited field of view you get to see. And as you have a limited range of motion, depending on your abilities or equipment, that you can move. As you take steps, you'll eventually bring enemies into the view of your character. And those enemies have attacks, various ranges, and timers that will determine when those attacks will go off. At this time, you have choices. You can shoot them or take cover. That's pretty much it. You will, but if you run in with just that mindset, even in a game this breezy, you will get your ass kicked because the game doesn't have a problem overwhelming you in certain scenarios. Instead, the idea is to take a lay of the land, get a general understanding of what the enemy placement is, spot where cover may exist, because this game does run on a cover system, which is a large part of what makes it sting, and you make a choice. The game does a good job of showing you the amount of damage you'll do to an enemy and also the odds of you hitting the enemy. The one thing I didn't understand, and if the developers listening, they want to go, Pernell, you dumbass, here's what you do. Please tell me. But I think some characters have overwatch fire, where, I just take a hit for reasons I don't know because I feel like I'm undercover. Maybe I'm not in cover and just don't realize it, but I'll get hit. I'm like, why did I get hit? It said that this was a good safe spot to be in. Damage. So I don't know. I just assumed that I'm taking overwatch fire. So that's the one thing I didn't really click with, but it doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the game by any means. Again, while you're exploring the level, I haven't come across if the island will start sinking before you kill the enemy, so I assume it does not. But once you do kill the enemies, it absolutely starts to sink. So get to the exit portal and get your ass on the move. On-level collectibles that I've seen are basically the item that can potentially get dropped after you cleared all the enemies from the screen. And that item will be anything from like money to a choice of 1 of 3 artifacts or relics. Those are the typical things in these games that will give you a various perks. But unlike a lot of other games like this, sticking with the 1 button, 1 choice thing, you don't go into a menu to look at what all your stuff does. Instead, once you've chosen it, the effects themselves are all pretty straightforward. They're all visible right on the screen. They give you little indications of what they can do. And if you press pause, you can just click over them to just look at what they do without having to go to a separate menu to do so. They keep it very straightforward and very fluid. Yeah. I appreciate that very much.
I like that Steam calls it a 1-click, 1-turn tactical roguelite.
I think it's very accurate, too, because you really don't, aside from moving the cursor, you never press the button more than once on a turn. So they're not wrong.
A comparison that they said it's like a simplified mix of XCOM and Hades.
I don't want to say Hades. I'd say
just
XCOM
like style-wise, not...
No, I get that. But even knowing that, I would say more akin to XCOM meets Sharon the Wanderer. or Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, because the movement is like those games, not like Hades. This game, you're moving on the grids, 1-1-1. The enemies move after you do. It's like basically, in those games, it's like I move, the enemy moves. We move with the same general vibe. And this game does that too. Once I move, the enemies are moving, and it's always a 1-to-1 thing, with the only difference being the timer determining when enemies will attack you. So I'd give it that comparison. Not to say that theirs is particularly bad. I just think the one I came up with is a little better. So once
I'm disappointed that of all the soundboards I have on Discord, no one has a Pokemon sound effect.
Squirtle? I don't know.
Yeah.
Squirtle!
Guess I'll just have to go with...
No, you don't. No, you don't. I will hang up this phone right now. But to keep it professional, I don't do it, because I will be unprofessional. But I will keep going with this review because this is a good game. So god damn that Colossus shit. So after the end of a level, every once in a while, you may have the opportunity to go into one of two other places that is not a boss fight. You may come across a shop where you can spend the gold that you've acquired during a run to make a purchase. And sometimes there might be other things, such as like, an energy refilling tree and whatnot. So you'll go there, spend some goods, and then continue on. And thankfully, that island is not sinking. So take your sweet time. It would kind of suck if it was, though, because you'd have this shopkeep with a whole inventory, and you show up and just get them killed. But thankfully, that island's not sinking. And the other thing you might come across is pretty much what I call a free floor, where you don't have to fight anybody, and you get a choice of a free relic or artifact. Bosses are a pain in the ass. They will keep you on your toes. But if you manage to defeat one, you will get, the ability to move on to the next world and get currency to upgrade one of your weapons. One of your weapons, I didn't say that earlier on because you don't even get it on the first run, but eventually you can unlock the ability to choose one of 3 different weapons, and each of those weapons has their own type of perk, such as maybe one giving you additional hit points or one giving you additional movement. So choose wisely, because it is going to matter a lot. And as odd as it may sound, I've pretty much described the game, except for the fact that I didn't mention that you can change your costume if you find them, or that you can pet a turtle. So I think this game is great. I'm the type of guy that likes min-maxing numbers and shit, but there's something to be said about a game that gets right to the nitty-gritty and says all the running, all the shooting, all the cover, without all of the menu-driven nonsense. So I think they did a great job with this too. I feel lucky that this is an episode where I had 3 games in which I liked all 3 of them. But I may have spoiled my final take on this, but this is the last but not least in my review schema. This is a great game and worth buying.
I gotta say I'm disappointed that you didn't talk more about petting turtles. Right, Pernell?
Fucking yeah! Well, he got it right, so that's all that matters.
$15. What's your verdict?
I think it's worth a buy. Good times, good plays. Fucking yeah! Listen to that guy. He knows his shit.
That is it for this episode. We made it through. Chris Pernell, thank you for being here to do your reviews. Big shout out to Bri and Grant for coming on as we chatted with Mel Kirk of Zen Studios about Pinball FX Williams Pack 9. Should be out by the time you're hearing this episode on Saturday when it goes up. No, Thursday when it goes. Fuck, this should be up now. Damn it, I am so behind. Aki, thanks for being here for absolutely no reason at all, out of sheer boredom.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Does anyone have any final words to end the show?
Tuesday, we will get the hot sauce. I'm looking forward to that shit. Come on. It's going to happen. I will be here. So let the suffering commence.
What day?
Tuesday, unless you're going to do it tomorrow and make me miss out.
No, we will probably be doing it next month because I do not have enough funds to be making tacos constantly. So,
you're waiting to specifically have tacos with it? You're not going to eat it out of a spoon?
Oh, God, no. I like being alive, and I might survive if it's on a taco. I doubt it, but I might. If I eat that stuff straight, I am going to literally die. I will have a heart attack.
But it's so delicious.
This is such a long ending.